Hey, what is up everyone? Danny and Alex. Hey, it is hot, it is warm in here. We've been training, we've been filming. We want to make another segment for you guys to show you guys some basic footwork techniques you can use as a boxer, so check it out. In boxing, there's going to be basic footworks and advanced footwork positions you want to have. I'm going to show you some basic things today, all right? So 4 different things. The first one is what I like to call the step and drag. Notice I said drag, not step and step, okay? Basically, it's to teach a new boxer, someone who's just starting out, to understand to keep his feet as low as possible against the ground, in the boxing ring, in the gym, on the floor, okay? So what you don't want to be doing if you're moving, once you understand how to place your feet, is walking as such. Of course, now I'm exaggerating for the video, but you don't want to be doing this, okay? Now, you want to do the step and drag. How we're going to do this is simple. We're going to step forward with our lead leg. Every time you move, the direction where you're going, that foot that's pointed there goes first. In this case, my left foot will move one, but look, the back foot drags back into position. So step and drag, step and drag. And of course, when you practice, you're going to sway your body and always moving. Now, if I want to back out, I'm going to step and drag the lead foot, step and drag. Why do I teach this to beginners? A lot of times, if they're purely boxing, is simple. Because now you learn to drag your feet. It doesn't mean that all the time you're going to be using the drag, right? Sometimes you're going to step instead or bounce. But it teaches you when you first start to stay low, keep your gravity against the ground. Why? If you start to walk, for example, and you elevate your step every time you move forward, now you're off balance just enough for someone to counter you with a punch. If you collect your feet, such as this, you step and collect here. Now, if someone attacked me now, I have no balance, right? So there's no defense happening. So when you step and drag, now you're always dragging your foot like this. Now, it makes for a heavy drag, but it's just for practice purposes at the beginning stages, all right? The second thing we want to talk about, Alex is going to demo, is the pivot, all right? So we're going to do the spin pivot for this tutorial. So now into your boxing stance, if Alex wants to turn towards the outside, meaning towards me and facing you guys in the camera, he's going to spin on the ball of his left foot as such. And now it's very important when you spin, once again, Alex, spin here, one, and spin again. Boom. Try to always ensure your feet remain in the same distance apart, all right? So always in a good stance. So it takes a little bit of practice. Sometimes you might spin, and as you spin, you'll finish with your foot crossed over. Sometimes you'll spin, and your feet are going to be narrow. Other times you might even feel that when you spin, you're too wide apart as such, all right? Sorry, Alex. So now, Alex, do a few reps, spin to the side, and spin again, all right? Now, sometimes you'll want to spin towards the inside as well. So now towards the inside, meaning towards the back leg, okay? So spin 1, and then 2, and then 3. And that's how you're going to spin, or I should say just pivot in boxing. When do you use the step and drag, the first one? Basically, you want to cover the distance. So if I'm fighting with Alex, I know my jab is a little bit far out here, so now I want to move. He moves back, right? He moves back, I don't want to move in with him, right? Move in with him. Now, when do I use the pivot? All right, so if I want to pivot out, if we switch directions here, and he throw a cross, right? I can slip my body to this side, but I can also pivot, and as he throws the cross, just pivot to this side, and now I'm ready to attack some angles. Now, there's another type of footwork I want you guys to practice if you're starting out, is going to be the bounce. How we're going to be doing the bounce is this. All Alex is going to be doing is distributing his weight from the left to the right foot. Watch my feet for a second. All right, so basically what you start out doing is just bouncing like you're skipping rope, but into a boxing stance. Just like this. But don't jump too high. It's a bounce. We're just bouncing as such. Now, rock from the left to the right foot. Bouncing as such, right? But don't jump too high. Just bouncing as such, right? So if Alex starts to bounce, now here, that's the bounce. Now, what we want to do is bounce in the same spot and eventually learn to bounce and walk a few steps forward or backwards as well, right? So we're always on our tippy toes, always light on our feet, never touching our heels to the ground, all right? There are going to be times where you're going to be flat-footed when you ground yourself up to hit a strike, but there's going to be other times where you want to be bouncing around so that way there, if you're lighter on your feet, you can move a lot faster in and out of range. And the last footwork we're going to talk about. There's many footworks, but the last one is going to be the shuffle step. Shuffling means I'm going to collect my feet for a fraction of a second. So in the step and drag, I stepped and brought the back foot in. And in the opposite direction, step and brought it in here. Now, if I go left to right, of course, my lead leg becomes my left leg, right? And if I go in this direction, my back leg will move first. Now, if I shuffle my feet, it's going to be slightly different. I'm going to do everything in the opposite direction. So instead of moving the lead foot, the back foot's going to collect there and get back into my stance. See? So as I move forward, now shuffle in here. And if I'm moving back, shuffle in here. Moving back, shuffling here, and back to my original stance. Now, when you use this type of footwork, not when you're in range. If I was fighting Alex and I used the shuffle step and he threw a cross at the same time I shuffled in, watch in slow motion, I move in, crack. As my feet are together, no balance, chin is open, and I get knocked out, right? You would use this if you're further out. So if we're in the boxing ring and we're further out, I started to shuffle out, and now if I use the step, it's 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, maybe too many steps to do, right? Of course, this guy's gonna be moving away from me. If I want to cover a little bit more range, I'm going to use the shuffle step right in. So we're boxing here, shuffle step in, and now I'm ready to pounce, right? So the shuffle step is to gain a little bit more coverage of your distance if you're further out. And of course, if you want to move way back, instead of just stepping back, and the guy came in with a fast shot, boom, you step right back using your shuffle step. So Alex is going to demo a few reps here. Shuffle forward, and back, and forward, and back. And again, just like the initial steps, try to always remember to bring your stance back to the original position after every type of footwork you're going to practice. So guys, step and drag, the pivot, you have the bounce, or I like to call it the boxer's bounce, and now you have the shuffle step. These are 4 basic footwork positions you should have if you're training boxing. All right, everyone, there you have it. Some basic boxing footwork for you guys to train. Hope you enjoyed this content. Leave us a thumbs up. As well, subscribe if you are new here, and we will catch you
in the next video.
Take care.